A lot of people come up to me and tell me stories about the red-headed woodpecker they've seen. And I'm like, you've seen an endangered red-headed woodpecker? And they look at me and they're like, no. I'm like, oh wait, did you mean the pileated woodpecker, which is the largest woodpecker? And they're like, no. I'm like, we see it often. I'm like, oh, so it's probably the downy or the hairy. And they're like, yeah. Well, this bird here, this is the red-headed woodpecker. I've been fortunate enough to see this large red-headed woodpecker from my backyard.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Its beak is a lot larger than most of the other woodpecker species.
Yeah, I got it.
The downy, the hairy, the northern flickers, the red-bellied woodpecker. It's funny, the red-bellied woodpecker actually also has a red head. It's a lighter color red than this one. And it's not the whole head, it's just sort of almost like a mohawk. This is a bright crimson, almost blood red, and it's the full head. This woodpecker is a beautiful bird to watch. It's all black and it just has that white patch on the back. And when you see it flying from underneath, it's so special. Have you ever seen one of these red-headed woodpeckers? Or do you just assume that all woodpeckers are the same because they all have a red head? A woodpecker's tongue is long and sticky and barbed, and it helps it when it grabs insects from deep inside crevices within the tree.
Wow, they're so
But
quick.
what's cool about the red-headed woodpecker is it'll sometimes grab bugs right out of the air and then fly back to the tree or branch that it was sitting on. I think we saw this happen a couple times, but I'm not going to lie, it's pretty hard to catch that flight movement when it's happening in the moment. One thing that was noticed while watching the red-headed woodpecker was that both male and female take turns going out and looking for food and returning. We were lucky actually to find it hunting on a tree. It was briefly on the ground for a moment, but it flew off the ground before I could get a picture or video. I'm not sure if it was actually hunting on the ground or just landed there.
There's 3 birds there.
The blackbird, and I'm sure there's a vireo couple.
There was a little bird
Yeah. The
getting ready
vireos,
to fly.
they're pretty vicious. They'll boot them out.
One of the most interesting facts that I found out about the red-headed woodpecker is that it's one of the only woodpeckers that will actually store its food. Like, it'll catch a cricket or a dragonfly like that one just did in that last clip, and it'll actually stash it in the crevice of a branch, and it'll come back to it later. Like an alive cricket or bug. That's pretty cool. I'm hoping that I can return in the next couple days and hopefully catch some babies' heads poking out of that hole. Because based on the way that mom and dad are feeding at the hole, there has to be babies inside the hole. Like, I don't think she would just be looking at the eggs like this. What are your thoughts? Do you think that there are babies in there or just eggs? Leave a comment. The population of red-headed woodpeckers has declined in Ontario by over 70% in the last 50 years, it's said. But what's interesting to me is that I've actually seen multiple nesting pairs in the last 8 years, and I had never seen one until I moved up to Wasaga Beach. Well, I hope that they do well and survive because I love watching them. And on my way home, I stopped and saw this juvenile Oreo. Well, Thank you for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and keep enjoying wildlife.